Hey, what's up? It's another episode of Watch You Strappin. These aren't watch reviews. This is a quick wristwatch check with an aftermarket strap just to show the pairing today. And you can consider these like supplemental reviews or extended user experience notes. But anyways, this is the Sinn 155S Bright Star. This is a I guess a collab limited edition with Revolution, and yeah, it's a really cool classic military pilot chronograph style watch, much like the Heuer Bundeswehr. Sinn made some, as well as prior to both of those. For the French Air Force, I believe they made them under the name, the brand Leonidas. Or is it Leonidas? Leonidas, I would say, I assume. But yeah, this is a really cool modern, I guess, reissue and interpretation of that in all black, hard-coated, and also made out of tegimented steel, which is like a proprietary, really hardened, scratch-resistant steel from Sinn. It's equivalent to what you might use on a submarine. And yeah, it looks really cool in all black. I think it really helps it wear smaller than the size might suggest. I think at 43 millimeters is kind of in a pretty good sweet spot for a solid, true pilot style watch. Yeah, I know some people might want a watch to be smaller and generally more wearable, like at 40 millimeters or under. But if you can pull it off, I would suggest at least 42 millimeters to start off with for most pilot watches. Maybe 41 at the very lowest extreme, but generally 42 is I think a good starting point, and up from there. But this is how it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. And look at the overall proportions of it. It's not bad at all. And this is basically the same proportions as this watch back in the day. I believe they were around from the 60s to 70s, and maybe probably into the 80s. Yeah, the style and just basically the dimensions hasn't changed from that back then. And considering this is at least a 15 millimeter watch, I think that's what the measurements I saw and may have measured myself. I forget the exact one. It wears actually quite slim. You can see there. And I just think overall the way the case is broken up, it's got a very thin mid case, and then you got the bezel and then the crystal that just all hides a lot of that supposed thickness to it. It just doesn't wear that big actually, which is great. And today I actually have this on a Hēmsut. I believe that's how you pronounce that E there. Is an E, long E sound. Yeah, I had one of these prior, and you look back, I had this, and I actually bought two other colors. I got it in like a military green and a black. Very cool. But I actually bought those all in a large size. They come in basically two sizes, a medium and a large. And I wanted the large mainly because this part of the strap right here, where it was Velcro down or hook and loop down, fastened down. Sorry, I can't use the word Velcro. So it's not. I'm not saying it's Velcro, FYI. I'm saying it's a hook and loop. Yeah, this part of it would go all the way up to about here, like the very end of it. I can size it and get it to fit right there. But that large size actually runs from 7.2 inch wrists to, I forget, 8 or maybe close to even 9 inch, somewhere around there. It's a larger size. So that would have been on the lower end of the smallest size possible for the large, where this would run up here. So I kind of like that, because more of the I guess hook and loop, the loop part, the soft part of this system that you see in black would be covered up by the gray strap. And you can see the tag a little bit better on this side too, which I thought was, I don't know, kind of neat for some reason. Otherwise, yeah. But it wore, I have to admit, if it is intended for a 7.2 inch wrist and my inch is 7, it did fit just about right. I mean, it just fit, I would say. I don't know about right, because admittedly sometimes it did feel slightly on the looser side, and I could tighten it up, but not really, because if I did pull this Velcro up tighter, that end would actually extend past this gray part, which has no loop part, so it wouldn't have anything to hold on to, so it would just kind of hang up and out there, and that wouldn't look good. So I pretty much was limited to the maximum size I could do it, and I really pushed it to the edge to get as much of it locked down without going over, and try to get it as tight as possible. And for the most part it worked, but I can't help but was feeling that it was just a smidgen looser than I wanted it to be, because this is a kind of a wide strap. You figure this is a 20 millimeter lug width, and gosh, this must have added at least 2 millimeters or more on either side. So if it's 20, this is probably maybe 26 millimeters wide, I can imagine. I haven't done the measurements on it. I'm sure the specs are somewhere online. But yeah, so it already is a wide strap, and having it feel like it's looser, this didn't work for me. I was feeling, so I didn't really revisit as much as I thought I would. And also the way some parts of it were made, namely right up here. I just did a video on this just to show what I talked about this strap real quickly, why I got another one in the medium size now, which well, I'm jumping back and forth. So let's just go back to the sizing real quickly. The size now, the largest size for a medium goes up to 7.2 inch wrist, supposedly. That's what the measurement is. And it goes down to as small as 6.5, maybe? Somewhere around there. I don't know. I have to check the specs, but it goes smaller. And so this is how it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. And there is more Velcro exposed, but I would I would say that the importance of just getting just the right fit, how it holds, and just a little bit more snug is generally more comfortable, as well as just making it feel smaller on my wrist, even though the width of the strap is still the same. But because it can be just held that much tighter to my wrist and wrapped around, it doesn't feel like it's kind of, I guess, floating or hovering just a little bit wider than my wrist diameter, if you know what I mean. Even though if it didn't really like get too much slop and really started to roll over or shift around that much, but still it was at the extreme, at the largest strap size. It was just at the extreme length size that is that right? It's just large enough to make it feel like it's just ever so slightly not secure and as compact or as form-fitting as possible. Yeah, that was really me trying to eloquently describe that situation. But so we'll see how this holds up. I mainly wanted to avoid showing the black part of this, the loop part, because I like seeing more of the gray, but perhaps more importantly, I feel that there's a possibility that this part of the strap could potentially fray up more and get kind of that weird fuzz around the outside, just from contact and friction with other things such as a sleeve, maybe even be a bit of a dust or lint magnet. Also, I can see that. But I think to control any kind of fuzzy fraying, you get that thin layer of material, the loop that's kind of pulling off. You know what I mean? If you use Velcro enough, that might be controlled if maybe I took a lighter to it and just kind of singed it, and then it all either burned away or just shrunk. Because this part of the strap I'll never use anyway, so if it does anything to this, won't really matter. It's mostly going to be hidden underneath this part of it, which I imagine it'll start pulling out more, because as you take it on and off, over time, I'm sure that's going to happen. But we'll see. The good thing about this strap is that it's not very expensive. It's like $20, so it was worth giving a try. Oh, and the other thing too was these parts of the strap that you see, this gray square rectangular, parts here, the top part corners were like kind of at the bottom, which doesn't matter as much, but the top parts were like a right angle, like a sharp 90-degree edge or corner. So it came to basically to some sort of a squared point on both sides. And that was one thing that I noticed was it was easy to, especially if you're wearing a long sleeve over it, to start catching on things. And that felt kind of annoying. That was I could sort of feel that it was like pulling on my inside of a shirt or sweatshirt or something. And also additionally, I can see, I never did it long enough, but I could see that it would, well, maybe I did start to notice that it would start to lift the ends of those corners up, and that wasn't a very nice look too. So what I ended up doing with this one was I just carefully placed this on a mat, used an X-Acto knife to cut it down at I guess at a 45-degree angle. I didn't even do a curve on it, but I think what I do to make sure it didn't fray after I cut it, to just round or smooth out that corner so it wouldn't have a corner to catch, was just take a lighter and just kind of heat sealed it. And I think during that process it just kind of rounded out that cut anyways. So and I think that it does definitely, I could feel a big difference in it, and generally even if it doesn't catch, if I'm touching I put my hand over the watch in that area, I don't feel those corners anymore, which is good. So that's one thing I would recommend if you get a strap like this, is attend to those little corners. Unless that stuff doesn't bother you, then I guess just leave it. But it's a real easy fix, and it doesn't really compromise the strap integrity at all. As long as you don't cut too deep, obviously. All you need is just enough to just reduce that corner down to an angle or roundness or so. And the other thing I'd like to say about the strap and why I got it was I just wanted something that looked different than just a NATO style or some sort of nylon pass-through strap. Those are cool and they work on this watch, but I just wanted something different, and I just didn't want another two-piece. This is basically a two-piece strap. I'll get into that, nylon or some fabric strap, which works too, but I just wanted something to look different. This looks almost a little bit more, I don't know, tactical, or something that the military might use around their own wristwatch or so, just to really secure it and make it look kind of rugged. And that's kind of what it says here, rugged, super rugged series. So we'll see how super rugged it actually is for $20. But I also wanted to give this sort of that bun strap kind of look, which it does, because it has this kind of layered effect, and that wider piece that's on the bottom looks like it's just visually, it quickly looks like it's going to go underneath the watch, between the watch and your wrist, kind of like a NATO or style, or pass through, or some bun strap have that kind of look too, but it actually doesn't. It's a two-piece strap with a quick release spring bars, and I don't know if you can see it here, kind of focus in on that. It just ends right underneath. You can kind of see the corner there. So it just has enough there to make it look like that, but the watch actually sits directly on my skin, and it just stays as low profile as possible, so you don't get that lift that you would get with a pass-through nylon style, NATO style, or an actual bun strap, which because usually they're leather too, they add some bit of thickness, and you don't usually see a fabric bun style. So I don't know, overall I think it's kind of a neat, unique, cool, unique look. And you just hook it through this side, as you can see. And I like the fact that it had the black hardware to match the black of the case here, which is kind of a prerequisite for me to make sure that any new straps have hardware that matches the watch that they intend to go on. So that's about it. Just wanted to show that little, I guess this wristwatch check, and a bit of an update on why I got a second one in a smaller size, mainly for the comfort, and actually overall it actually makes it look just that little bit more slim and compact, because again, this is a bit of a wide strap. You don't want it to feel as unwieldy, and this really, just getting it just that little bit extra tighter that I can, really helps do that for me over the previous version, which were a bit larger than it needed to. And that's about it. All right, thanks for watching, and enjoy your watches. Later.